In the year 1858, there was a moment on the rim of a vast blue mirror in the African interior that would ignite a scandal across Victorian Britain. John Hanning Speke, a lieutenant-turned-explorer, stood on the northern shore of a lake the locals called Nyanza. Before him, the water flowed out in a fierce, shimmering sheet later named Ripon Falls, and Speke believed he had found the long-sought source of the Nile. This is the true-life discovery story of how one announcement, one claim, and one rivalry remade maps and reputations. The setting, mid-19th century East Africa, a tangle of unknown lakes, trading caravans, Arab slave routes, and the European thirst for prestige. Two Englishmen, the linguist adventurer Richard Burton and the more austere, resolute Speke, had set out together from Zanzibar in 1857. Their shared hardships hardened into mistrust. After days of fever and argument, they separated. Burton pushed west to probe Lake Tanganyika. Speke struck north, and by August 1858 came upon the immense plain of Nyanza. Speke returned to Britain with an explosive assertion: the Nile's headwaters flowed from Lake Victoria. The claim was not merely geographical triumph. It was a ticket to fame and influence within the Royal Geographical Society, the very nexus of Victorian science and imperial ambition. But the evidence Speke brought back sketchy coordinates, hurried observations, anecdotes of local testimony left room for doubt. Richard Burton accused him of haste and of securing credit by default. The dispute became bitter and public. To silence skeptics, Speke mounted a second expedition with James Grant, 1,861,863, and traced the river flowing from the lake at Ripon Falls. He published his journal in 1863, mapping a connection between Nyanza and the Nile, yet the political machinery around exploration was already cranked. Burton's camp argued Speke had jumped to conclusions and that Burton's own discoveries at Tanganyika challenged the neat story. Members of the Royal Geographical Society picked sides. Newspapers turned the quarrel into a soapbox for rival ideologies, scientific method versus adventurous instinct, meticulous proof versus the rhetorical power of a single discoverer. Tension reached a combustible point when a formal debate was arranged at Oxford in 1864. Speke would defend his claim and Burton would demolish it. The night before he could take the stand, Speke died from a gunshot wound while out shooting. A verdict of accidental death was later recorded. Conspiracy whispers spread as quickly as the headlines. Had a jealous rival silenced him? Had political operatives within the society arranged to prevent the truth? Some suspected suicide to avoid public humiliation. Others hinted at darker schemes, the stuff of rumor rather than proof. The historical record tells a different, more complicated truth. Speke's observations were imperfect, but not entirely wrong. His later party with Grant did find a river pouring from Victoria's northern edge. The Nile did, in fact, begin its long journey there. Burton's objections exposed gaps in documentation and method, and his grievance was real. In their first expedition, the men had quarreled bitterly, and trust had broken. The Royal Geographical Society's role was clumsy and partisan, reflecting Victorian networks of patronage and personality as much as scientific rigor. The aftermath was sobering. The discovery reshaped maps and opened routes that would change the region's future. But the human story of rivalry, ambition, and the bruising contest for credit remained. Speke's name would be forever linked to Lake Victoria, Burton to the raw, controversial courage of exploration. The conspiracy, when stripped of melodrama, was less an act of murder than the collision of ego and empire. An argument about who could claim the honor of discovery, played out under the unforgiving glare of Victorian fame. Today, at Ripon Falls, now submerged beneath dams and modern development, the Nile still begins its northward march. The water does not care for debates. Yet the story of Speke and Burton endures as a cautionary tale. Discovery is never only about geography. It is also about the narratives we tell, the institutions that reward us, and the fragile human reputations that rise and sometimes fall in the wake of a single, world-changing claim.